Hello, YouTube. What is up, everybody? This is Big Zess, and we are back with another video. On today's video, we are going to be discussing the ship that I have behind me, which is one of the many variants of the RSI Constellation. And specifically, this ship is the Constellation Aquila. The Aquila variant of the Constellation is the exploration variant of this ship. And just like with most of the other ships that I love to rate on my channel, I have a liking towards ships that have a exploration, expedition, and or some type of utility style behind the ship. So this constellation, just like many others, we'll start with the weapon hard points. We have 4 size 5 guns that are mounted, enslaved to the pilot. We also have a turret that is located right underneath here, under these doors, which we'll look at a little bit later. That is available for a crewmate. And that is all when it comes to the armament for... Oh my goodness. Server error. This game never ceases to have some type of shenanigans happen. Wait, what? Oh, okay. What the hell? You know what? I'm not even mad. Okay. Video continues. As I was saying. All right. This ship, the Constellation Aquila, I've never really given this line of ships, these style of ships, much thought prior to the 4.7 update. I've always just been either a Drake fan or some other type of ship that I believed was more practical. And that's mainly just due to the sheer size of this thing. It's a very long ship, as you can see. But just like with many other ships that I've been posting up on the channel, I've started to give them a little bit more thought because 4.7 has introduced armor changes, and in particular for this line of ships, the Constellation series, their armor rating, health pool rating, deflection values are all very appealing, which we'll talk about a little bit later. This ship has 2 entrances. One will be here. This is a drop down sort of elevator that brings you into sort of the habitation area, which we'll see in a moment. And then the second entrance would be here, the cargo lift, which I should have 2 different vehicles inside of here. So I have a hover bike and a Nursa. So you can fit a Nursa in this vehicle, albeit it's quite of a tight fit. Okay. But you do have space for a Nursa, and you have a little bit of space here in the front to fit hover bike, some other vehicle, maybe even a cargo box, you name it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and close this up. We're going to take the elevator here. And I actually want to start more towards the back of the ship here. All right. So in the back of the ship here, as you probably saw on the outside, we actually get access to a snub fighter. This is a, I think, P-52 or P-72 Merlin. I'm not entirely sure. But once we are inside there, we can undock and take control of this snub fighter. In the Constellation Taurus, which would be the transport version of the Constellation, that's the only version of the Constellation that does not have a snub fighter. In this area, it would be more of a secret cargo bay in the Taurus variant. This ship does not have a golden standard pass, so this room here is supposed to be the components room. As you see, there's a power plant, gravity generator, things of that nature, and other components, being within the surrounding area. So none of these are physicalized where you can actually see the components. But once that golden standard pass happens, hopefully we'll be able to access these things. Nonetheless, you do have a fire extinguisher here. And as we continue on, we have the cargo bay, which goes up and down. We have controls on each side where we can open and close the cargo bay. There's also controls down below here that also give you on each side, one here and also on the other side as well. It's just difficult because it's full right now to access them. We have a ton, and I mean an absolute ton of missiles on each of the Constellation series. There's just a boatload of missiles. Okay, with the Andromeda holding the most amount of missiles. I think it's almost 50 missiles on that one. We have an airlock exit for both sides, actually. So this is one on this side, and there's another one over here. Okay, so that is 2 airlocks. All right, and as we come into the habitation area here, we have 4 different bunk beds available for crew members. They do function where you can bed log in them, which is really nice. And then we have a really nice habitation area where you can have seating for 3 people. This table retracts, goes up and down if you would like. These are not physicalized at all. Should potentially be some type of utility here. Not sure what this is going to be all about. But this side, we have a bathroom, a very small bathroom. There should be a toilet there. Doesn't look like it's working. Mirror as well, not working. We do have a shower. So this bathroom, hopefully when it's reworked, will have all the necessities. But it's nice that it's there. We have, looks like I pressed the wrong button. Okay. We have 5 different storage containers. This ship has a whole lot of storage. Well over 5 SCUs worth of internal storage here. So this is an amazing amount of storage on the ship. Only 2 weapon racks with no space to put You can put a handgun here, but it's kind of a waste. There's no specific dedicated slot for a handgun, which is unfortunate. So only 2 weapons or utility items, such as a tractor beam and such. And our last airlock is actually in the habitation area here. Where you look up. Okay. And here on the bridge, we have another fire extinguisher with access to some other components, which once again are not physicalized just yet. Shield generator would be here. But we do have access to a engineering terminal. So even though we cannot physically access our components, we can access them through this terminal here, which is really nice. We're able to also control all the doors if need be, which is really nice. So it's good that we have at least engineering terminal. Here is the access to the 2 different turrets. The upper turret on this particular model does not work. Only the bottom turret works. I currently have the turret turned off to save a little bit on power, but we can actually at least see the turret. So there are weapons attached, but once again, they're turned off currently. But we have really good range of motion here. We can see completely 360 and look all the way down. Really good range of motion towards the bottom of the ship. And depending on the variant that you choose, specifically for the Taurus variant, this bottom turret would actually be a tractor beam to be able to load cargo in and out of the cargo bay a bit easier. And I believe the Andromeda variant, which is sort of the offensive military variant of the ship, has both turrets available. So the maximum amount of firepower. Here on the bridge, we have 2 co-pilot seats. Both, each do not really have access to any specific functionality. Both of them are, you just get a screen and a button to turn it on and off. There's nothing special here. And here in the pilot seat, we have access to a very wide variety of buttons here, all sorts of systems that we can control. We have open and exterior and closing it. And VTOL, we have 4 MFD screens, just the whole range of motion here. One thing I do want to note when it comes to maneuvering the guns, the gimbals on this ship, similar to sort of the 400i, although you do have gimbals, it's not as limited, but it is quite limited. I'm going to go ahead and enable rotation lock here. You can see how the crosshair goes red, sort of, as I move it. So this is sort of your limited range of motion with the gimbals. And that's just due to the placement of the guns being so far back and the vehicle being so long. So the gimbals, they are useful, but you have this sort of square pattern of available firing angle, uh, as you will. So in a lot of situations, it may just be better to just keep the gimbals locked and then just maneuver the nose to be on target. Um, Again, the gimbals, they work, but you're quite limited. So, in my opinion, I would just keep them locked and maneuver the nose because that's going to give you a bit more DPS anyway. It doesn't mess up your shot, but you might be a bit disappointed due to the limited range of motion. For the Aquila variant, we have a top nav speed of 1075, which is the fastest out of the bunch. But what I really love about the Aquila variant is its quantum fuel capacity, which we'll see here on the status screen. We have access to 5.6 SCUs worth of quantum fuel and about 104 SCUs worth of hydrogen fuel, as you can see up in the top left here, a little over 104. To my knowledge, this is the most amount of quantum fuel that is available in a ship with a size 2 quantum drive. And this amount of quantum fuel allows this ship to have a total um, distance of over 500 GMs, which is astounding. So this ship is in a class of its own with its quantum fuel range. So now that we've gone over all the interior and characteristics of the Connie, we're going to go over the loadout that I have for the Constellation Aquila on Urkel. So this is a loadout that I have on my Constellation Aquila. As you see here, attrition 5s for the weapons. We have NN15s for the turret, lower turret. And then we swapped out our missiles for EM style missiles on the missile racks, giving us a total of 24 missiles. We have the typical C7CA Nargun, shield generator, Genoas, iceboxes, and Hemera quantum drive. This Hemera quantum drive allows us to have a max distance of over 500 GMs, which is great. And we also have our usual SNS competition grade B radar, which gives us the maximum allowed aim assist distance for only 3 pips of power. If we disable the NN15 cannons, because I'm only solo, we can remove just 1 pip from the cooler and have full power to guns and full power to engines. And this way we won't be lacking in any area regarding shields, engines, or guns, and still having enough cooling consumption to run and power the entire ship. The Constellation Aquila, the reason why it really grabbed my attention is due to its deflection rating. Not only with its deflection rating, also its health pool values. The health pool value for the Aquila version, along with, I believe, the Andromeda, is the highest out of all the constellations, being over 180,000 HP. Also, because of 4.7, having deflection values of 77 for physical and 62 with energy. This puts it on par with many other ships that are out there now, but in particular, for its physical protection values, we only have to worry about ADB 4s and above. And for the lasers, um, the CF4 rhinos can still get you, but most of the size 3 guns and below, which you would mostly encounter in PvE scenarios, you completely don't have to worry about. And having a very sizable shield health pool of 125,000, which is also a quadrant shield type, very rarely will your shields even go down for enemies to do any sort of damage to your armor or hull. And that's even if they're hitting you with weapons that can pierce your armor or hull in the first place. Having 4 size 5 guns, you have a very respectable 5.5 thousand sustained DPS and an astonishing almost 8,000 burst DPS with the gimbals locked. Once in gimbal mode, you cut it down by about almost 2,000, a little over 2,000 DPS. But however, like we showed a little bit earlier in the video, um, utilizing the gimbals is not as effective as it would be in most other ships like the Corsair. So keeping the gimbals locked will just give you the best experience. The Constellation Aquila can be had at Lorville for about 12 million AUC, which is actually the second most expensive out of all the different variants of the Constellation. All right, now that we've taken a look at the setup that I have for my Constellation on Urkel, we're going to jump into some content today. I plan to go to Nyx to engage in some of the new missions that they have available over there. So let's go ahead and jump on over there and see what we can get into today. All right, so we have made it here in Nyx. We're going to take a look at this bounty hunter contract that is available that allows us to go to one of the new QV breaker stations. So we're going to go look for Pedro Neal at the QV breaker station. Okay, so we have made it to the QV breaker station. We have to land at Sector 2. I don't know why this spot right here allows me to warm up, but I'll take it. Yeah, it looks like we might have our guy. Yep, there he is. Got him. It's real easy to get lost in these things. All right, we made it out alive, which is great. We're going to go ahead and store our spoils in our storage locker here. We're going to tend to our wounds in the Nursa. The new QV breaker stations that are now available in Nix offer a wide variety of content. Um, and I would like to, in a later video, do a much more deeper walkthrough or run through. But before we end this video, I also wanted to take on one of the new um, high value or extreme value bounty hunter missions. I believe they are reclusive bounty hunter missions. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at one of those. So there's these new extreme risk or high risk that pay out quite a bit of money. We're going to take on the very high risk reclusive bounty and see how we can do in our Constellation Aquila, where we have arrived at the bounty location. Let's see what this bounty has to offer. Okay, we have quite a few enemies that we need to engage. Looks like some buccaneers, some arrows. All right, let's get into it.
Shields damaged.
Enemy down. Turn on the gimbals. We got that limited range of motion, as I was referring to earlier in the video. I am really taking quite a bit of damage. On my shields, at least. But they may not actually be able to hurt me. I think they have just like size 3 guns. Okay. Got to be careful because some of these guys have distortion repeaters. And I don't want to be caught.
Shields damaged.
Really got to go after these vanguards.
Enemy down.
Okay. So the biggest threat is down. Now it's just all pea shooters.
Shields damaged.
Finally.
Shields damaged. Enemy down. Enemy down. Enemy down. Shields damaged. Shields damaged. Enemy down.
All right, got him. We're going to check our armor here just to make sure that we're still okay. And yep, we're at about 95 and 99%, so we're all good.
Radar contact.
Let's use some of these missiles.
Radar contact. Target acquired. Target acquired. Target acquired. Radar contact. Target acquired.
Coming in hot. Well, the missiles, they hit.
Shields damaged. They're closing it. Enemy down. We lost one.
Need help. I'm losing ship systems.
Enemy down. Shields damaged. Shields damaged. Enemy down. Enemy down. Shields damaged. Shields damaged. Shields damaged. Enemy down. Shields damaged. Enemy down.
Okay, finally. So now we get to go off against the boss. And we're going to check our armor one more time. I think I took quite a few more hits that time. Armor is still fine at 94%, so we're doing fantastic. We still have a couple more hostile ships to take out. seems like.
Radar contact. Enemy down.
Friendly down. Repeat, friendly down.
Okay.
Shields damaged. Enemy down.
Okay. We should have the boss showing up here soon now. I'm going to try to hit him with my last couple of missiles. Hopefully we can kill him quickly. And then just get on out of here.
Target acquired.
So it's always going to be a Redeemer, it seems. Okay, I'm taking a lot of damage now. I might have to actually get out of here because I'm starting to take distortion damage. Pretty bad.
Shields. Radar contact.
The distortion damage is really dangerous, especially for this ship, because
Shields.
there's no physicalized components. So if my power plant dies, I'm screwed. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the closest station, repair, come back.
What drive is now on. Planting complete. Radar contact. Target acquired. Radar contact. Enemy down.
Got him.
Shields are open. We'll mark one less shithead on the run. Pleasure doing business with you. Quantum drive is now on.
All right, so we have landed in a safe hangar to wrap up this video with some final thoughts about the Connie, in particular the Connie Aquila. This is a great ship as a exploration ship. We were able to complete all the tasks that were uh, available in this video and jump all around the universe without having to refuel, which was great. In combat, it performed relatively well. The maneuverability of the Connie is quite limited, and we also ran into a couple of issues, as stated for earlier in the video, where enabling the gimbals didn't really help much. It's very limited range of motion, albeit it's there, but in most scenarios, it was just a lot better to just keep them locked and try to maneuver the nose to stay on target. It was much more reliable than being limited by the range of motion, which would cause us to miss our shots. The defensive capabilities of the Connie are also great. In most occasions, especially in this reclusive bounty that we were able to engage in, as long as you keep your shields up, which isn't too much of an issue, the biggest threat to you would be the distortions, especially within the Connie, it not having a gold pass. If your ship gets distorted and your power plants get destroyed, you're pretty screwed. So it's very important that you keep your shields up and don't allow those distortion enemies to get you. Keeping your shields up with the Connie was pretty simple. It's only when you get very overwhelmed where it becomes more of an issue. So we were able to take our time. It took us a little while to kill all the enemies, mainly due to, again, our limited range of motion, not so maneuverable. Our DPS output was really good with the size 5 weapons. However, it's just been difficult to hit our targets. That is a combination with the weapons that we have equipped, but also, again, the limited range of motion, limiting our ability to track those light fighters that we were dealing with. We were also able to go to the QV breaker station to run that bounty, and having a Nursa parked in the garage was very helpful. We were able to not only have a respawn point in if things went sideways, but also able to heal ourselves up of any injuries that were incurred. With plenty of space to spare for an extra vehicle such as a hover bike in case we needed to infiltrate another area on foot or with a vehicle. So overall, the Constellation Aquila is a very great ship. And for the price point of almost 12 million AUEC, it might be better to look at some of the other variants if you're interested. But the total package that you get here with an amazing defensive capabilities, decent offensive capabilities, a huge health pool of almost 200,000 health. I don't really think you can go wrong. One side of the Connie is that it's a bit outdated, not having its gold standard pass without physicalized components. But if you could get past that There's a lot here that the Connie can offer. So I'd give the Connie a solid 7.5 out of 10. Its strengths, the quantum fuel size, the size 5 guns, and the ability to load in inertia. The drawbacks, it's a bit outdated, not having physicalized components, a bit on the expensive side, a little over 12 mil. If you're looking to save some money, looking into the Taurus variant is not too much of a trade-off. You get quite a bit more cargo space, so you can utilize it. You get more utility out of it. Same amount of missiles. The only drawback will be a slight decrease in the overall armor and health pool, along with a cut in quantum fuel capacity. But for a price point at around 8 million AUEC, it might be worth the cut. But in comparison to our recently released video of the 400i, this is definitely a much better ship to spend your money on in comparison to the 400i. 400i being almost 12 million as well. That money would be much better spent on the Aquila that I have behind me here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys love the Constellations, or in particular the Aquila? Let me know what you guys think. And thanks for watching this video. If you stayed this far, please like and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe out there, and peace.